Yes, well, back with you. Hello again. Jim Burns. What we got going on here today is we're going to get back to work on my childhood 2025. I've decided not to change it around too much. Just a few things we're going to add, a little bit of bling. Mostly because my entire childhood, every Christmas, this was the locomotive I couldn't wait to see running again. So I remember, my mom and dad clearing out the living room, make room for the tree first, and then that 4x8 sheet of plywood set on the sawhorses, and the poinsettia style skirt that my mom would staple around the edge and make it look pretty. My dad screwing down everything by hand, slotted screws, real small, to hold the track and the switches in place. All the buildings and accessories that went along with it. We usually had 2 lines, an inner loop, an outer loop on the surface of the plywood. And then we had an elevated line where we could run a 3rd train. And my dad would have that done so quick, and the train's up and running. So this is where all my memories of my Christmases when I was a kid reside, in this locomotive, mixed in with the metallurgy here. So yeah. So we're going to go from here and excuse me, start repairing it, getting it back up on the rails. She'll run once again. All right. All right, so what we got to do here to start our rebuild project is we're going to color our bill into a gold flavor of our chrome marker. All right. Let's get some more gold on our tip here. All right, I think we're done with that. Beautiful gold bill. All right. All right, so our next project then on this 2025, here's our pill smoker. Look down in there. You can see sort of a flat looking heating element. Let's zoom in there a little bit. You can see down in there. There it is. Your pill would just sit right on top of that element and melt away. Give you years of puffing glory. But as you can see, there's the pill residue. Here's the original cloth covered wire. That's still on there. It's actually still in good shape. But we got our puffer slash plunger. All right. We got that. Got our activation lever. Got our mounting screw. Here's our felt washer. A little stiff and crusty. But what we're going to do, we're going to give this a nice bath in the odorless mineral spirits. We'll get her all cleaned up. She still works. Alright, I could just have her mounted to our layout here. I got hooked up to the center rail and then the chassis ground. Just show you it does still work. The old pill smoker, it still works good. That's my locomotive looking for the remote. Give her a couple seconds there to heat up. Shouldn't take long. Yeah, there she goes. She's working great. Yeah. All right, that's excellent. All right, quit playing around, Burns. What I'm gonna do for this locomotive, we'll upgrade it. Let's move all this out of the way. And we'll convert it to a liquid smoke unit. I got this kit off of eBay. There's our new washer right there. Here's our pad to soak up our smoke fluid. Here's the sleeve that goes over the heating element, which is down there in the midst of that plunger spring. And then a new plastic cap. So we'll convert all this puppy. We'll pry the lid off here. After it's soaked in mineral spirits, it'll be easier to disassemble that way. All right. Okay, I just wanted to show you here we got our smoke unit soaking in the mineral spirits here. So we're just going to let that go about its business. Make sure it's completely submerged here in one of the corners of this receptacle. Yeah, probably within a couple hours we'll check on it, but I usually just let it sit overnight. It's not going to hurt it, so we'll let it work its magic and come back to this later. Okay, here's our smoke generator here, fresh out of the mineral spirits. And I just took a little bit of Scotch-Brite just to define where the joint is between the cap and the outer bowl here. All right, she's looking good, all cleaned up. Now, since we don't care about the heating element or anything, we're replacing all that. I'm just going to go ahead and cut this wire, and we'll get that out of the way. Then we'll commence to getting our cap off. But first, I just want to take a little bit of time and just clear out this joint here around the bowl and the cap, just to clear out any resistance. There shouldn't be a whole lot. Something of that nature. Remember, we have a new plastic cap when we put our liquid upgrade on here, so we don't have to worry about this cap at all, or the heating element or the padding inside. That'll all be coming out. All right. I think that's enough of that. All right. Thought I'd show you. This is the felt washer there. Came out real nice. Now it's nice and soft, flexible, nice and soft, so we can save that. Use that in a future project if we need to. Yeah, that came out real nice. Mineral Spirits does a good job on this though. Okay, as you can see, I have the smoke unit just clamped down with a quick clamp onto our work table here. And I see a lot of people fighting with these caps to get them off, and there's really no need to fight with this at all. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here I have a toothpick. You could use a metal rod if you want to. Something that would fit up through a hole where the air gets puffed up into the chamber here. And if you push that up in there, it's not a tight fit, it's a slop fit. So, okay, now we're just gonna do a few taps on here. And she should pop right off just like that. Alright, pretty easy. We can just set that aside. We don't even have to disassemble that any further. There's the bottom side of the heating element. And now that we've got that disassembled, we'll get our toothpick out of the way. Alright, then we can get our liquid upgrade kit, get that over here and start rebuilding this. Alright. Alright, so I wanted to touch on this with this removal of the cap here. If you go up through the, let me grab what I do with my toothpick. Here it is. So if you go up through that hole, the air tube they call it, with your toothpick or your rod, alright, and it comes out there. When you hit the cap, if these are positioned correctly, that air tube fits between that space right there, right here. So you're not going to damage your heating element. If you wanted to save this working pill smoker element, alright, so all you're going to do, all you're doing is you're not hitting the mica, you're not hitting the element, you're just going up and hitting right on the underside of the cap there. Alright, so you're not going to damage anything doing it this way. When I see people prying it off with pliers and, you know, trying to get a grip up this way, or screwdrivers trying to work it between the bowl and the cap, is that you're just running the risk of ruining that right there. So this is the best way to pull these off, or push them off actually. Alright. And then if you need to, say you wanted to rewrap that with some new nichrome wire or something, you could do that. But this will probably break it. But if you take a look under here, we're not reusing this, so I'm going to snip this wire off here. There we go. All right, it should pull out. There's a little solder lug right here for the other end of the nichrome wire. All right, right there. It's very tiny. Now that part's pretty fragile, so you want to be careful if you're trying to save this. So your nichrome's going to wrap around there, come out here, and this gives it the ground side. This will ground it to the chassis and ultimately to your outer rails. And then this side where I just cut the wire, that goes off to your center roller pickup lug on the E unit. Alright, that's usually where they're wired to. Alright. Well, if we pull that out, not much to it. Piece of ceramic right here. A hard material where they wrap it around. Still got a little tiny bit of pill residue where the mineral spirits didn't reach. Okay, it's gone. But yeah, here's the other end. And it'll go to the center roller pickups. This is where your pill will be sitting when you put them in there. Alright. So there's not much more to it than that. But I just wanted to show you really that taking it off the way I did it, the air tubes are always in this empty space, so all you're hitting is the cap. You're not hitting the mica, you're not hitting the wire here, so you're not going to damage anything. Alright? Just wanted to make that clear. I forgot to mention before we move on with our project here, once you get that heating element off, out of there and the cap off, you need to clean the padding out that resided in the bowl there. Okay, pretty easy to come out. It's tweezers and little jeweler's screwdriver, an old X-Acto knife. Just be careful not to hurt yourself. But yeah, you just gotta work that stuff out. Something like that. Oh, flathead jeweler's screwdriver. Just dig around in there. It'll be sticky in there. Won't want to come out, but it's pretty easily removed. Okay, so that that'll solve that problem. Here's some of it here. It's just this padding. Alright, so you got to get rid of that. So we can throw that away. And then, let me open our rebuild kit here. Alright, so then there's our new Pac-Man, as they call it. Waka 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 waka. But that's our new padding, and that notch will go around our puffer tube here, and just Push that down in there. Make sure it's seated all the way down in. All right. I'll take this back out, but I'm just showing because I want to soak it on the bottom side before installing it. I'll soak it with some smoke fluid. And then once we put it back in, we'll soak it from the top. Not soaking wet, but just damp enough. Okay, so there you go. That's our Pac-Man installed. That batting is ready to go. So I'll just pull that back out. There we go. We'll set that aside for the moment. All right, so I just wanted to make mention of that old batting that you have to work out of the bowl there. But once you do, you can just run some Scotch-Brite like I did. A little piece of Scotch-Brite all around there. Get her all shined up. All right. And then I also ran some Scotch-Brite into our tube here just to get that all cleaned up. And then we'll have to run our little moto tool around this a little bit, I think. Got a Scotch-Brite wheel on there. Just do this one gently, just to, shouldn't take a whole lot. Wasn't very dirty at all. No pill residue on that. Alright. Really not necessary to do this, but we'll stick it up in there. Am I in the picture? Alright. So that's nice and clean. Alright, we're ready to rebuild this. Okay. So what we've got here is our spoke unit screwed down to a piece of 2x4. And I got it clamped to the table here just to make it easier on myself so it doesn't move around. The first thing we got to do here is we've got to add some solder to our framework here so we can have our chassis ground on our heating element. The other one was, I showed you the little tab that the nichrome wire that grounded to the chassis on one end, but with this setup we need a place for our heating element here to come down and meet up with our chassis so it has a place to ground out, and then the other side will be our center roller pickup. These aren't positive or negative, they're but whichever side you put the heat shrink tubing on, when you put it through the cap there, that will be your center roller pickup, and then that essentially becomes your positive side. Okay, so but we're going to clean this area, this little groove here, and we'll get that done right quick with our moto tool here. Just don't need a whole lot of, I might block your path here, but should be clean enough and roughed up enough. Give our solder something to stick to. Alright, so let's put a little bit of baking grease on here. Alright. Got our iron heating up here. Clean the tip a little bit here. There she is. Alright, let me prepare a little bit of solder here. While that's heating up, I'll just put our iron down on our bracket here. Give her a few moments to heat up. .500 degrees, that's what I got the iron set at. I'll wait for it to flow nicely. Quite a bit of metal here for it to heat up. So we'll just wait. Give it a time to flow. You don't want a cold solder joint, so just make sure everything's hot enough. Take your time. That's much better. Alright. So that'll make a good bed for our heating element once we're ready to get that soldered in place. Alright. Alright, now that our generator has had time to cool off, I'm going to take some alcohol here and get our extra flux off of there, or baking grease as I called it earlier. When I was editing the video, I realized I'd said that. When I was in probably 7th, 8th grade in grade school, I went to work for an old man, plumber, and he taught me a lot of the plumbing that I know, and we worked on real estate properties for a real estate company. But anyhow, he always called the flux baking grease or goose grease. That was his other funny name for it. So he was a funny old guy. We worked together. I stuck with him through high school too. So then he retired. I bought a lot of his tools from him. When he retired, I bought his car from him so I could continue working. He was a nice guy. Alright, so we've got all our flux off of our smoke generator. Might be a little bit left here. All right. So that's ready to accept one of the leads of our heating element. So here's our cap. Here's the underside of it. That shows up. Alright, this is the underside of it. That's the larger hole that will accept the heat shrink tubing over the lead. And there's a smaller hole on that side. They want you to bend these at 90 degrees at the element, at the end of the element. And it looks like it's a perfect fit to go through those holes if we bend them right at the end here of our heating element. So I think we should do that. All right. Get this one bent down. All right. Let me just take a look here. Put that through there. Oh yeah, we're in good shape. All right. So before we bend our other one, we've got to put on our fiberglass sleeve here, our wick. All right, that'll cover our heating element here. All right. Then got our heat shrink tubing they supplied. We'll put that on there. Okay. So that will get her shrunk on there. Before we bend it. All right. Give that a moment to cool down. So we'll bend this up. Want to be able to see the end of that. Where is it? There it is. Okay. There we go. I was probably out of the camera's view, wasn't I? Sorry about that. But anyhow, we're turned upwards on both our leads. And the one with the larger hole will go over our heat shrink. Just like that. All right. Our leads will stick out like that. This will go to our center roller, and this one will solder to our mounting frame here. We'll get our Pac-Man, waka 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 waka. We'll get that all soaked with some smoke fluid, alright? Alright, we got our little plastic tray here. Put our batten in there. I'm using this Mega Steam smoke fluid. Coal-fired. That's the scent on this one. Like I said, we don't want this sopping wet, just wet enough. It holds a lot of fluid. Alright, when you start to see it oozing out of the felt there, you're getting saturated. Alright, so let's just flip this over here. I don't know if it shows up in a picture, but there's some white areas here. So we're still not completely soaked through. So that's why you want to do both sides of these, not just throw it in there and hope that it's all saturated. There we go. Now it's very slowly soaking all that in. So we should be pretty good now. Excellent. So what we're going to do here, we'll put that under there. Grab our padding. And put her down in there. Let's tuck her on down here. That way we know it's sitting down at the bottom of our bowl here. You can see it in there. It's in a nice position. All right. So I'm going to lock it back down again. This is just easier for me to do it because of my hands. All right. All right, so then we can flip it around this way. I'm just going to pinch these wires a little bit just to keep that heating element in place. Or spread them out like that, and that'll just keep the heating element in the spot it's supposed to be in. All right, so we need our element positioned in such a manner that we can get our lead all the way over there. All right. Then we're just going to tap this home here. Let me turn this around. Okay, I got my pliers here. We'll be able to pinch down on this. There we go. And we should be able to just tap it on home. Very good. Okay, there it is, sitting down in there. All right. So this will go off to our center rail pickup. This will go, we'll bend it down here. Get that in position here. Spin this around where I can see it a little better. There we go. Okay, that looks like a nice fit there. Let me bring it down around this way, put an overbend in it, and then should be able to use a little self-governing spring tension on there to hold it in place. Oh yeah, there we go. All right. So now we can heat that up and solder that into place. All right. Looks like we're losing some of our smoke fluid here, so I'll bend that up a little bit. Clean up that mess. Put our capturing device back into place. Alright. Let's get this bent. Try to keep it nice and straight. Something of that nature. Alright. So we'll get the soldering iron fired up here and get that. Okay, sorry about that. I forgot to turn the camera on, but we're just soldering our lead into place here. Alright, we'll get that real nice here. Alright, very nice. Okay, we'll let that cool down. Let me throw this on as a heat sink, just to absorb some of the heat. Don't want it going all the way back to our heating element there. We'll let the clamp take the heat. Yeah, looks like a nice joint right there. Still takes a lot of heat when you use the bracket like that, so be prepared if you're going to do it this way. Alright. But we got a nice joint there. Oh, let's see. Get an alcohol swab here. Pull her down a bit. Yeah, she's nice and hot. So we'll let that cool. And then we'll go up to the layout and give her a test, huh? See how we did. Alright, we'll let the alcohol swab absorb some of that heat too. Very good. Well, I'll see you up on the layout then. We'll give her a test. Okay, we're up here on the layout now. We're going to test out our recently completed smoke unit conversion. I got the AC amp meter hooked up here. You can see by the selector we're on the AC amperage. We'll see what it draws. So let's see if she works. All right. What's that? 0.5, 1, and 2 AC amps. All right. Now that's at full speed on the throttle. Let's see if we can get her to puff up a few smoke rings for us. A little hard to do this way, but yeah. There we go. Oh yeah. That's a lot of smoking right there. I'm loving it. Look at the smoke on that puppy. That's more than she ever did before. So I'm happy with this project. Still at 0.51 amps. It shouldn't change too much at all while it's under operation. That's at full speed on the throttle. Let's turn her down to half speed. See what kind of output we get. Still smoking up good. Very nice. I'm very happy with that. All right. So that's we're at 0.36 amps at half throttle there. So now we're at 0.46 amps. Very nice. I'm liking this. All right. Excellent. Turn that power off. All right, so this successful project here, converting this pill smoker to a liquid smoker. So we'll move on from here. I'm just going to leave this lead run long until I get the locomotive back together, figure out where all my wiring's going. Once we get the motor installed in the boiler shell, we'll run that up to our E unit, and that'll pick up the lug that's attached to the center pickup rollers. This one's already connected to the bracket, so that'll be our outside rails. All right, so we're in great shape here. Time to move on to the boiler. I want to drill and tap the boiler for some 700E stanchions instead of the old cotter pins that they used originally. So we'll put some stanchions in there, just like we did with the 2026 and the 229. All right, I'm loving this. This is going to work out great. Toodles.